So you've been shooting videos, you've been posting, and you're not getting the views that you want to get. Okay, been there, done that, and I'll tell you what, it can be frustrating. But there are a couple of things that we can look at and we can try to identify the reason why. Because I'm here to tell you, YouTube does not hate you. Okay, YouTube does not hate you. They want you to succeed. They want your videos to reach the right people. But we have to know the knobs to turn, the switches to flick. All right, and that's what I want to do in this video. And I'm gonna actually give you 3 of those. I've got 3 of them written on my little fancy little note here. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna be cheating a little bit looking at my notes. So the very first thing that I want you to identify, if you're not getting the views, okay, if you're not getting the views on your YouTube video, okay, is I want you to think about, is the audience even there? Okay, I know it seems really obvious, but I want you to see, is the audience even there? Do you have proof that other people are watching videos of the content that you're creating? There's so many people out there that they're like, I have this great idea for a topic and I'm going to talk about that, right? A good friend of mine, Ryan Lee, check out his channel, by the way, good friend of mine. He's been online business owner, entrepreneur for over 25 years. Real good friend of mine. I've helped him with his channel. His channel's doing well. But he was wanting to really talk about like online business for people over 40, but he was talking more about, he wasn't using the right type of language for who is on YouTube. So he was talking about people that wanted to build like a single person business. Instead of it being what the word is that's being used is solopreneurship. Okay? So that one little switch there can change everything. Because even though you might be thinking, oh, that's who I want to serve, someone who wants to start a business that's just one person, but the word that's being used out there is solopreneur. So that one little switch can be like, oh my gosh, like, if I'm looking at solopreneurship, there's a lot of views potentially out there. But if I'm doing just the person that's like a one-person business, there's not, okay? So is the audience there? That's number one. You have to find proof first, okay? So that's your validation piece. Find proof that there's actually an audience there. A lot of people will be like, well, what if there's a lot of competition? Should I still do it? Yes, heck yeah. That just means there's a bigger pie out there. So just get out there and enter it. YouTube wants you to show up. They want to show new content, okay? But you got to have that title right with that right word in there that you're trying to let YouTube know who to put you in front of. So like, let's take my buddy Ryan, for example. If he was just going after one person business, YouTube's like, oh, wait a minute here. Who's that for? A business owner? I don't get it. But they know that people that have searched for solopreneurship, they know who to serve that to. So what we want to do is we want to piggyback off of that. Right? So that's why we need to know who that is. Okay? Really, really important. And that's why also the title is super important. That's my next piece here. I've got it on my list here. Title. Your title is extremely important. Once we know there's an audience, we know that. Now we got to create a great title that, number one, gets in front of the right person by putting the right keyword in there. Okay? Like in that case with solopreneurship versus one-person business. Right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is we want it to be compelling. 5 tips or 5 hacks for your solopreneurship business, right? There we go. So we have 5 tips, 5 hacks, 5 secrets, like whatever. We like lists. People like lists. That's one little hack there that I can give you today is just use lists. People like listicles. And oh, by the way, I should mention this. I have a whole list of titles, 10 titles that I've used over the years that have worked really well. Actually, I shared them with my buddy Ryan as well, and he's used a couple. If you want a copy of that, put hooks in the comments and I'll send you a copy for free. Just put it in the comments, hooks, and I'll send that to you. It'll be pretty helpful. I'll show you like how to use them in different niches and stuff. All right. So titles are really important for discoverability, for YouTube to put you in the right audience, but then also for you to get that, that desire for someone to want to click. Okay. So title. The last piece is the thumbnail. The thumbnail is extremely important too, because here's the deal. We have the audience, yes. We have a good title, cool. We get shown, but we have a crappy thumbnail. Well, that's great. We show up, but now we're not going to get the click. So I look at it as the thumbnail is really something that gets that attention when someone's scrolling. They're not reading at that point. They're just scrolling. And then from there, they're going to read the title and go, oh, that's cool. Click. Okay? So that's kind of how it works. Those are the missing pieces as to why you might not be getting views. And a lot of times you can trace it back to that. One other little bonus thing here is if you're not getting views, it could be just because you're not taking enough swings. You're not putting up enough videos. You know, a lot of people get stuck on creating the content and they worry about the tech, or they worry about how they sound or how they look, or not having the confidence. The bottom line is you got to take more swings. My buddy Ryan that I was talking about, he was getting a little frustrated because he was putting up videos and getting a couple hundred views, 300 views, and he was kind of like bummed out. I said, man, just keep taking swings. Just keep taking swings. Get your good title, get a good thumbnail, and you'll get it. Trust me. And just the other day, he messaged me and he had a video pop. The last I looked, it was over 12,000 views. It was getting about 400 views per hour, all because he just kept taking swings. He kept taking swings. He had a great title. He had a great thumbnail. He got the click. And guess what else he's doing? He's building his audience of the right people. Because why? Because he targeted the people that he wants to serve. All right? So it's really important that we understand title is so important, but the audience that we're trying to attract is super important as well. Okay? Really, really important. And like I said, if you want those titles, because that is where it starts for me, I always just sit there and I do ideation. I will just sit there, have my cup of coffee, and I will scroll through the feed of YouTube, and I get ideas by looking at what catches my eye. Even if it's not in my niche, I will take a title that's not in my niche and I will make it in my niche. I will make it for my niche. All right? So that's a lot of times how we can do that ideation. If you want a copy of that, by the way, like I said, just put hooks in the comments and I'll send you a copy free. Okay? And like I said, it'll be plug and play. I even have it highlighted in red of where you'll plug and play, like the desire, the curiosity piece. I'll explain it all in that PDF. But your audience has to be there. Do that research. Make sure that it's there. If it's not there, you might have to find an angle like Ryan did, using a different word to attract that audience. Or here's another one. If your audience is really big, then you got to go a little bit more narrow at first. A perfect example, this channel, one of our first videos that got over 20,000 views was one that I created, and it was, if you're over 40, you must start a YouTube channel. So I targeted people that want to start a YouTube channel, but I went a little bit narrower, and I said, if you are over 40. And that took off, right? We went a little bit more narrow. So you got to play with those titles. You got to play with the topics, and you also got to play with the thumbnails, but you got to know that the audience there. And if it is, you have to be able to attract them with the right piece of content by titling it correctly. And I've been talking a lot about titles. I've got a video that I break down 10 of those titles in that PDF that I just shared with you. If you want to watch that video, go here. I'll put it up here, and I'll break down those 10 titles and show you exactly how to use them for your own videos. Watch that video next, and I'll see you there.